There is a kind of betrayal so deep, so vile, it doesn't just break hearts. It shatters the very code of blood and trust, something unresolved. What happens when a man doesn't just cheat, but does so with his wife's own sister? This isn't just a story about infidelity. This is the anatomy of manipulation, of lust weaponized, of secrets that were never meant to be exposed. And tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're solving the problem no one dares to face. Why do men betray the very home they build? Why do some men chase women, even if it means burning down their kingdom for one night of power? The answer is brutal, philosophical, and darker than most can handle. Long before courts and churches, long before vows were etched into gold and kissed before crowds, there was the law of instinct. And in this law, men were hunters, not husbands. They pledged allegiance to survival, not loyalty. What we call love was once just strategy. But some men never evolved. They wear suits instead of skins, but their hearts beat to the same old rhythm. Take, dominate, leave. This is not a modern story. It is an ancient crime disguised in a modern home. There is a hunger buried deep in the minds of certain men, a hunger not for companionship, not for softness, not even for sex in the way the innocent understand it, but for possession, for territory, for power cloaked in intimacy. You see, when a man cheats, the world asks the wrong question: did he love her? No, wrong. The question isn't about love. The question is, what did conquering her give him? Because for some men, the act of betrayal is not a mistake, it is a strategy. They don't fall into temptation. They dive headfirst into it, eyes open, hands outstretched, fully aware of the wreckage they leave behind. Why? Something unresolved. Because forbidden desire isn't about the woman, it's about the thrill of violating something sacred. It's not about having. It's about breaking, about taking what should never be touched. It's about watching a flame burn and doing nothing to stop it, because that fire feeds them. And what could be more forbidden, more sacrilegious, than the sister of your own wife, the woman connected by blood, by childhood, by shared memories and family dinners? To desire her, to chase her, to sleep with her, it is not mere infidelity. It is psychological warfare. A man who does this isn't confused. He's selective. He's hunting in the one place that will wound the deepest. Because the pleasure isn't just in the act, but in the damage that follows. They say, the heart wants what it wants. But no. The predator doesn't move based on feeling, he moves based on pattern. He doesn't love the sister, he targets her. He studies the emotional landscape of his home, and he looks for cracks. Those quiet insecurities, those silent rivalries between siblings, those unspoken envies that sisters carry in silence. And then, he slides in, with words, with attention, with a glance that lingers too long, and a joke that feels too personal. And still, some will say, it just happened. It was a mistake. But does a man mistake his wife's sister for another woman? Does he stumble into betrayal? Or does he climb into it, step by step, eyes open, soul closed? There's something even darker, something society will never say aloud. The man who betrays his wife with her sister doesn't just want sex. He wants dominance over her bloodline, over the throne, over the very system that trusted him. He wants to corrupt the root of her identity, to prove to himself that he can take from her not just love, but legacy. Because once he's done that, he hasn't just cheated, he has conquered. And that is the language he speaks. Why? Some ask, why risk it all for that one moment? But to some men, it's not a risk. It's a trophy. It's proof that they are still dangerous, still capable of breaking hearts and laws and boundaries at will. They crave the high that comes from crossing lines that others dare not approach. The sister is not the goal. The destruction is. And when they're caught, oh, how eloquent they become. It wasn't planned. She came on to me. We were both vulnerable. Words carefully chosen, like silk over daggers. But behind every excuse is a man who made one choice, again and again, to betray. This kind of man is not broken. He is designed this way, molded by silence, by entitlement, by the secret applause of a world that still whispers, boys will be boys. When boys become wolves, he doesn't chase women out of emptiness. He chases them out of fullness. Every conquest feeds the part of him that was never taught to be still. And let's speak plainly, because truth has teeth. Some men don't cheat because they are missing something at home. They cheat because they enjoy taking, because they view women not as partners, but as opponents to be disarmed. They are not looking for love. They are looking for a new kingdom to plunder. And what better kingdom than the one right next to the throne? They sit at family dinners smiling. They hug both sisters. They act normal. And yet, beneath it all, is a war most women even don't know they're a part of. A secret game. A calculated game. And for men like this, the closer the woman is to the center, the greater the victory when she falls. This is not romance. This is not a mistake. This is possession wearing a human face. And it doesn't knock at the door. It enters with charm, speaks softly, it waits patiently. And when the time is ripe, it strikes. There's betrayal, and there's something far more sinister. A man cheating with a stranger is pain. A man cheating with a friend is treason. But a man who lays with his wife's own sister, that is blasphemy in its most human form. Not against religion, no. Against trust. Against the ancestral bond. Against the sacred contract written not in ink, but in blood. The sister is not just another woman. She is part of the wife's identity, the mirror she grew up with, the voice that knew her childhood secrets, the face that shared her family's name. She is blood. She is memory. And that is exactly why she becomes the ultimate target. Because for some men, betrayal isn't satisfying unless it cuts through generations. Now ask yourself, why would a man who already has a wife turn toward her sister? Is it because she's more beautiful? Is it lust? No, it is familiarity weaponized. He sees the wife and the sister as extensions of each other. One is the flame, the other the reflection. One is the crown, the other the shadow. And to take the shadow, it's to spit in the face of loyalty, while pretending to honor it. The man who sleeps with his wife's sister doesn't want both women. He wants to erase the difference between them, to make them interchangeable, to play God with their identities. He doesn't see two women. He sees one soul split in two. And he wants to dominate all of it. This is not confusion. This is calculation. Because he knows exactly what it means. He knows what happens when a sister is betrayed. It is not just a broken marriage. It is a broken bloodline. It is mother against daughter. Sister against sister. Family turned into battlefield, and he sits in the center untouched, smiling. And the sister, she is often painted as the seductress, but sometimes she is not evil, she is vulnerable. She is manipulated. He tells her things. Your sister doesn't understand me. You're the one who really sees me. He weaves her pain into a net. He catches her shame and turns it into dependency, until she mistakes his lies for validation and gives herself to him piece by piece. But do not be fooled. This is not romance. This is not fate. This is invasion. He steps into the garden that was never his. He touches what was always forbidden. And he does it not for love, but for proof. Proof that he still controls the narrative, that he can make women fight for him, even when they share the same blood. It is not sex, it is warfare, and the battlefield is invisible. Holidays, birthdays, weddings, smiles that hide knives, conversations that carry landmines. And the woman, the wife, she stands in the wreckage, trying to understand, how could my own sister do this to me? But the real question is darker. How could he want this? How could he plan this? How could he enjoy watching two women who loved him destroy each other? They call it falling in love. But what if it's not a fall? What if it's a hunt? What if the man who smiles so effortlessly, who compliments with surgical precision, who stares a second too long, isn't swept away by emotion but guided by calculation? Not all men who chase women are lovers. Some are tacticians, quiet generals of desire. They don't move with feeling. They move with intent. Every message measured, every compliment timed, every touch placed. This isn't romance. It's war dressed as affection. It's not passion. It's strategy. You think he's interested because he's lonely. No. He's watching, listening. He learns what the woman craves, what she lacks, what her husband doesn't see. And then he becomes exactly that, not because it's who he is, but because it's who she needs. For now, he studies her speech, her silence, her wounds. He doesn't chase with desperation. He hunts with patience. Like a seasoned predator who never wastes energy. He waits for her weakest moment. The argument with her husband. The distance in her marriage. The glance that lasted too long. And then he moves. But here's what most people never understand. These men do not see women as people. They see women as portals, gateways to power, to access, to ego. The woman isn't the goal, the conquest is. The proof that he still can, that he's still wanted, that he's still above the laws of loyalty. And when the woman gives in, when she believes the words he says late at night, "You're different. I never felt this before. I can't stop thinking about you." What she doesn't know is that he's said it before. To others, in different forms, with the same tone, because he's not speaking truth. He's speaking technique. These men don't lose control. They create it. They craft confusion, so the woman doubts herself. They stir chaos, so she becomes emotionally dependent. They wrap lies in tenderness, so she never sees the blade until it's buried deep. And the irony, they never look like villains. They laugh, they cry. They say, "I love you," with trembling voices, but it's all part of the craft. The most dangerous man is not the one who raises his voice. It's the one who lowers it. Not the one who demands. It's the one who whispers. Some men don't fall in love. They manufacture it. Not for a future. Not for connection. But for victory. For the satisfaction of knowing he could enter someone's heart, rearrange its rhythm, and leave before sunrise. Like a shadow no one can catch. You ask, why do some men do this? The answer is older than scripture. Because dominance feels better than devotion. Because taking is easier than building. Because some men are not searching for a woman. They're searching for their next chess move. There are truths so sharp, so destructive, they were hidden on purpose. Not by accident, not by ignorance, but by design. Because if women ever knew what some men were truly capable of, if they ever understood the full machinery behind seduction, betrayal, and manipulation, everything would collapse. Families, myths, the illusions that keep society from tearing itself apart. You were never supposed to. Why? He looked at your sister longer than he should have, unresolved. You were never supposed to question the way he spoke of other women with a strange mixture of admiration and contempt. You were trained, taught, to explain it away. He's just a man. It's biology. Men are visual. But those are lullabies, soothing lies dressed as facts. And the real truth, it's far darker. Some men don't just cheat. They calculate their chaos. They engineer their betrayal. And the most frightening part, they know the world will protect them, unresolved, because women have been conditioned, since girlhood, to doubt themselves before they doubt a man's intention. So even when the intuition screams, he's lying, he's playing you, he's turning you against your own blood, you silence it. Because no one taught you to trust that inner voice. You were taught to serve, to forgive, to understand. While he was taught to take, to explore, to conquer, this truth was buried under fairy tales, under stories of princes, of saviors, of happily ever after. You were told that love conquers all, but you were never told that some men use the appearance of love to conquer you. That love, in the wrong hands, becomes a weapon more dangerous than any sword. You ask, why didn't anyone tell us? Because it would dismantle the myth. Because it would make women dangerous. Because if women truly saw the mechanics, if they truly understood how their emotions are studied, how their loyalty is leveraged, how their pain is predicted and used against them, they would stop being easy to deceive. The truth is, some men don't want wives. They want kingdoms. They don't build. They invade. They wear masks of affection, of patience, of warmth. But underneath is a strategist who learned from the silence of generations. A man who knows that the greatest hiding place for betrayal is not distance, but closeness. The closer he stands, the more hidden he becomes. And here's what they fear. More than exposure, more than consequences. They fear a woman who sees the pattern. A woman who speaks the unspeakable. A woman who turns to her sister and says, "He chose us both to destroy us both." Because once women begin to see that the betrayal was not personal, but programmed, they stop blaming each other. And they start turning their gaze toward the man who orchestrated the war. You were never meant to see behind the curtain. Never meant to read the script he memorized. Never meant to hear the echoes of every other woman he's played before. But now, you do.